I haven't had somebody irritate my spirit on a reality TV show to this degree in so long. I haven't had that, right? Chris would have me ready to reach through and grab him because Chris is the epitome of somebody having too much dip on their chip, right? Let's go ahead and talk about it. What's up, party people? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Tammy. This is Tammy Talks. We are here to talk $1,000,000 Secret. We're gonna do episodes 4, 5, and 6. All right. So if you haven't already, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, leave your comments down below, not only on these remaining 3 episodes, but just on the first 6 episodes in general. Who do you guys want to win? Who do you hope does not win? I have my picks. I have my picks in case y'all didn't know. All right. As always, I'm going to have the people periodically up on the screen, but again, it's going to cover my pink. So I'm not going to have them up the entire time. All right. We've been watching the show. It's been 6 episodes. I'm talking about this show as if you have seen it. If you have not seen it and you need more detail and you need more pictures, I need you to go watch the show. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it. So episode 4 is entitled Hot Seat for 3. So Peter is waiting in Phil's room when he gets back and he tells him, look, your agenda for today is I need you to get 2 people to scream by the time I call the winners to the trophy room. If successful, okay, you can elect to have the money moved to a different person. Y'all know they be wanting this money to move to different people like crack, right? They can't take it. They can't take the heat on them. They be freaking out over the agenda items. So Phil is like, okay, I'm going to do this because remember the last agenda, he didn't even try to do it, right? So we get down to breakfast, and Kara is on the Phil's ass. She said because he just wanted to protect Sydney. So Chris said, look, we can all vote on facts instead of emotion now. And I'm like, oh, so you know that this was an emotional, like, I don't like Chris. And like I told y'all, I wasn't too keen on Lauren either. But the way that Chris really rallied people to go against this lady, knowing good and goddamn well she wasn't the millionaire, pissed me off something serious. Because we're wasting votes. We're wasting days. This was silly. So they're sitting there, and now Phil don't know what to do. Phil breaks his damn tooth on some bread. As somebody that bit down on a Qdoba chip in the past couple of months and cracked the tooth as well. Well, mine was like a molar. Well, mine was the molar. It was the filling in the molar. So same difference, but still, yeah, that shit would throw off your whole day. So now Phil is damn near in tears because he got to get people to scream, and then he has to do this. And if Phil was smart when he bit down, and he felt that tooth broke, I would have screamed. Because if he screams, at least one other person is going to scream. At least one other person is going to scream. So then Phil's simple ass is like, this wasn't on my agenda for today. Nigga, what? And I don't know if he said that in a confessional or if he said that at the table, but like, what? So let's get to the challenge. We are in 3 teams of 3 for today. Team A is Kyle, Sydney, and Phil. Team B is Jamie, Chris, and Sam. Team C, Lydia, Corey, and Kara. So they are going to be making a drink, okay? So we've heard Peter say, where's my drink? Where's my drink? Nobody ever brings Peter a drink. They gonna bring him one today. So the point of the thing is with these 3 teams, they have to figure out the correct combination of whiskey and ice. So they're going to split their team. One person is going to go to a glacier and get some ice that is identified by the age of it. And then the other 2 people are going to go to a distillery and they have to do like a puzzle. It's Sudoku, basically. They have to do a Sudoku puzzle so that they can find out which barrel is the whiskey for their particular team. So, stage 1 is a game of Sudoku. Now, we see some people kind of struggle with it. It's like if you know Sudoku, you're cool. If you don't, you're going to struggle. Stage 2 is in the Sudoku puzzle, certain numbers were bolded, and those three numbers are going to correspond to your barrel. So once you get your numbers, stage 2 is you go into the barrel based on the puzzle, and you have to fill up your decanter. Now, they're using like a long eyedropper, and everybody's just doing, and I'm like, this is gonna take forever. Kyle says, shit. Kyle is able to use common sense, and he sucks it up, and so by him, inhaling, he's able to get more of the whiskey up in the eyedropper, so they were able to fill their decanter up first. So stage 3 is the barrel stopper, has the age of the ice that they need to look for at the glacier. So once they get the age of the ice, they can call on via satellite over to their third teammate who is waiting with an ice pick to go chop down some ice. Okay. So stage 4 is they got to go through these layers of ice to find the ice of the age, all this type of stuff. So the winners end up being Kyle, Sydney, and Phil. Well, the only thing that I want to point out from this particular scene is the fact that Sydney, they're on the glacier. They're on the glacier, mind you. Sydney is running down the hill to this glacier so she can go get the ice. She slips and fall, and Corey is like, that's suspicious. That's suspicious. Like she fell. Is that part of her thing? Nah, nigga, she just fell on some fucking ice. Like, look, I like Corey. Corey is fine to me. Corey's handsome. I think Corey is very astute. He's like, I like Corey. I like his swag and everything. But the way Corey be loud and wrong and hanging on to the most wild shit, sir, my good sir, you think that her falling on some ice is an agenda? Come on now. Let's use both sides of her head, both sides of it, right? So we get to lunch. Corey is telling Kyle, Lydia, and Kara how Sydney fell and how he thinks that's a part of the agenda. I said, oh, girl. So, as if somebody slipping and falling in snow is wild, but whatever. So, Phil is sitting around with Sam, Sydney, and Chris, and he's like, man, my tooth, I just want to scream. So he's able to get them to scream. Lydia immediately was like, oh, that's in the agenda item. Because while we out here just screaming, Phil didn't really think that through. And while, yes, the way he got everybody to scream was good, but it was just, it was very obvious. Don't do it in front of a bunch of people. You know what I mean? Kind of do it when it's just like you and one other person. The next day, Sydney is like, look, I'm about to start use my feminine wiles to try to get Chris. So Chris clearly is a square and ain't never been around a beautiful woman. So he's like yucking it up, right? I don't like Chris. I do not like Chris. And Sydney is like, okay, I'm going to use the fact that he likes me to play him. So Chris was like, yeah, I gravitate towards, naturally smart people because he talks like this and he over enunciate every single word. And I'm like, shut up, Chris, because Chris really, like, Chris had my pressure here, y'all. Okay, so Chris feels like he has influence in the house to the point where he can say and do whatever, and nobody's gonna come after him. I said, yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. So we get to the trophy room. Out of the winners, it was Kyle, Phil, and Sydney. Kyle was chosen to get the clue. So the clue that Kyle gets is that the millionaire has completed their agenda today, and it was inspired by the title of a popular horror film. So Kyle goes and tells everybody right away. And while they're sitting around, they were like, Freddy, Jason, Blair Witch, Scream. I said, shit. So they say Scream, and Sam is cackling, mouth wide open, laughing. So if you were sitting there with Phil when he had y'all scream, you know what the answer is going to be. So I'm like, damn, Phil, that's why you shouldn't have done it around so many people. I feel like stuff like that, you kind of got to do Phil should have screamed with Kyle and Cara because they're not as vocal. Screaming with Sam and in front of Lydia is a choice, right? So Lydia wants to act as if they are going to vote out Phil, but really everybody is voting out Sydney. She's like, because Sydney is a very strong player, and if we know it's Phil, we can just kind of coast along to the end. Kyle thinks that this is genius because they can then vote out Sydney and then Phil back to back. It sounds genius, but not when we know, okay, that the money can be moved. And considering that we know that Lauren opted to move the money already and it went to Phil now, why wouldn't y'all think that he has the opportunity to move the money again? That's why it's not a good idea, right? So, and Phil has already elected that he is going to move the money. So y'all, like, it's silly. So Sam goes to Phil and tells him straight up, look, I know you're the millionaire, but we want to get out Sydney instead. So this gives Phil the opportunity to, work some things out, try to strategize, think of a good spiel to try to keep you there, my boy. Come on with it. Let's do it, right? So Chris has a problem with this, but he led the charge to get Lauren out. And I'm like, oh, why do you have a problem with this? You have no problem ganging up on people that you know are not the millionaire. Shut the fuck up, Chris. Vote for Sydney like everybody else, right? So we get to the elimination dinner. Corey immediately speaks up and said, I know the millionaire is Phil. Let's get right to the bullshit. Hey, that is you, my boy, but it's you, right? So Phil said, look, it was Sam's idea to scream, which it kind of low-key was, but Phil, you orchestrated that. So Phil then said, look, you don't get the money by eliminating the millionaire. That's not how it goes. Like, yeah, you can say, hey, I didn't win, but I got the millionaire out. And I see the approach that he was trying to take, but nah, we got to get you out, good sir, right? So Peter instigates during the dinner, and I love it. That is one thing I love when it comes to this over Traders, because on Traders, Alan doesn't say anything. Peter be in the mix like, oh, so Sam suggested y'all scream. Oh, fascinating. I said, get into it, Peter. So Chris said, look, I'm tired of opening up empty boxes. Lauren's box was empty, and you knew Lauren's box was going to be empty. So shut the fuck up and vote with the group. I cannot stand Chris. I can't stand Chris's ass because now you want to stand on moral ground. Oh, nigga, please. Shit. So then we get to episode 5, okay? So episode 5 is the kill shot. This was that episode for me. So the votes are in, and they vote for Phil. He opens his box and it's full. He gives a very gracious exit speech, and he knows that there are no hard feelings. It's all for show. I was with Lydia. What the fuck are y'all crying for? Y'all did what y'all were supposed to do. I do not understand how these people come into these shows and they be so emotionally connected to these people. And I get it. It's an experience that we all just don't know, an experience that unless you've been with these people, we don't really understand. But this is like crazy to me, right? So it is time for a new millionaire. So the next morning we see everybody opening their boxes and everybody is praying like, oh, please don't let it be me. Oh Lord, please don't let it be me. So we see everybody going around and Sam Sam is the new millionaire, baby, and she did not want it. She didn't want it at all. So Peter comes to visit her, and he gets right to it. Agenda time, baby, whether you want it or not, you are the millionaire, sweetheart. So he tells her, look, if you complete the agenda, only your vote will count tonight. You get the kill shot. So basically, whoever you want to get up out of here can get up out of here, right? So the agenda is she needs to ask 3 guests, can you hear the ringing sound? At least one person has to agree. If you fail, you will have an automatic 3 votes against you. I said, damn. Now that's a hell of a advantage, so it has to be a hell of a disadvantage too. So we get to lunch and Sam is completely different. And this kills me. Every single time somebody becomes the millionaire, they feel that, oh, okay, so I'm just going to sit back and be observant. No, you should be continuing business as usual. Don't switch up what you're doing. And because Sam gets clocked for being very different. So Chris It's of course Chris's ass. Clack says she's quiet and she was kind of nervous. So Sam tries the ringing thing with Lydia, swing and a miss, which is good. Which is good. We want Lydia to say, no, I don't hear anything. But Lydia is smart and Lydia wasn't playing around with her, right? So Lydia kind of looked like, let's go on inside. Since you hearing shit, let's go inside. So we get to the challenge. So they are broken up into two teams. We have Team A, Sam, Kyle, Chris, and Jamie. We have Team B, Corey, Sydney, Lydia, and Cara. So they're going to do, it's like a trophy wall. So it's going to be the heads of all the different animals that are left, that are there. And the opposing team is going to be throwing basically color water balloons at these heads. Now, one of them has to put their head in. You got to stand or in that move, be completely still. The team that is able to guess which head is which with the least and hit them spot on with the least amount of shots, they are the winner. So I'm like, cool. This is easy because somebody's gonna move, right? If there is shit flying at your face, you're gonna move. You're gonna move, right? So only one person is the shooter, which I thought they were gonna have them rotate. One person is the shooter. So Lydia is saying that she wants to throw the challenge because she wants to get Sydney up out of here. And I'm like, damn, Lydia. Okay. So Lydia does not want her team to go to the trophy room. So Kyle is the snake and he decides to go in and put his head in. He moving. They can tell it's him already. Like he wasn't even trying to be still. So Sydney, who I guess is like was a hunter in Alaska, is doing the shots, and Lydia is throwing it, and she's like, Lydia, okay, move down, like pull it tighter, do whatever. It's clear she's fucking it up, right? Because if I was Sydney, me and Lydia would have had some words after. But so shall it be, right? It took Sydney 13 shots. I said, damn. Damn. Meanwhile, Chris is going against Team B, and it only took him 6 rings because they saw that Sydney's ass was moving right away inside of there. So Sam is like, okay, the heads are in a ring. Bet, 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 bet. So she starts yelling, can you hear that ring? Can you hear that ring? Can you guys hear the ring? So at this point, now she has asked at least 3 people, and Jamie, who answers every single thing, it's like, I hear it. Yes, I hear it. Sam has completed her agenda. I said, go ahead, Sam. I love it. So let's get to the trophy room, shall we? So they picked Jamie to receive the clue. And the clue is that the millionaire is lying about their profession. So Jamie decides to have everybody quickly answer what do they love most about what they do and what their profession is. So everybody was like, no, why are we doing this? We already did this already. Lydia was like, fuck that, what's the clue? And Jamie was like, no, let's do it real quick. So they all do it. And Jamie then says, okay, so the clue is that the millionaire is lying about their profession. So Sydney was like, oh shit. Sydney said, look, so what you guys don't know about me is I started bottle service back in 2018, but it's not the only thing I do. You guys didn't ask me what else do I do because I'm a medical sales rep. I said, girl, why are you telling on yourself? Why would you do this, Sydney? I didn't understand it. I didn't get it, but girl, whatever. So she was like, so I guess I'm just interested if anyone else does anything else, or it's like their job is what they've done in the past. So now everybody is looking at you, Sydney, as if you are the millionaire. Considering your ass has been on the chopping block every single night, why would you even say anything, girl? Why? So later she's talking to Corey and Jamie, and she's like, look, I just put myself in a bad position. The millionaire wouldn't do that. I put a bigger target on my back, but I think it's Cara. And they was like, Cara, why? She said, because Cara claims to work at In-N-Out Burger, right? Cara said at lunch it would be fun to cook every day. Don't you cook every day? And I was like, yeah, but that's different. I feel like that's different. So Sam is meanwhile going around trying to convince people that Sydney is the millionaire. So Lydia asks her point blank, Sam, are you the millionaire? Because Chris thinks you are. And Sam is like, what? What? Well, look. Chris is so whipped by Sydney that he would never vote for her. And everybody knows, everybody's like, yeah, that's true. Sydney has him under a spell. So Sam is there like, look, if Chris is coming for me, I'm coming for him. And I said in my notes, vote Chris. Chris should have been your kill shot, girl. Chris should have been your kill shot. So the elimination is going to be an elimination breakfast this time. And I said, oh, how fun. How interesting. So Chris sits down and he's like, look, I have no idea on who the millionaire is. So Sydney said, look, I chose not to share every little detail of my life because I didn't know what could and would be used against me. She said, but lying would be me saying that I'm a pilot and I'm not. Y'all didn't ask what else I did, right? So Kyle was like, I don't like that you omitted it. Sydney said, everybody has omitted stuff. And she starts running down all these different things about herself that nobody knows. And she said, because nobody asks her anything about herself. She said, y'all don't ask me about my life. Anytime I talk about my life or anytime I talk to anybody, I ask y'all about y'all lives. Y'all don't ask me about my life. Do you know that I shot a Kodak grizzly? I shot a grizzly bear. I said, girl, whoa. Relax. Oh, Jesus. I was like, Sydney, you're not helping your case, girl. But I feel what she's saying, though. This game is about lying and deception. So y'all getting mad that people lie to y'all does not make a lick of sense. It just doesn't. It doesn't. So then Chris holds her hand and it's like, I think the world of you. And I just don't feel good about what is happening. I said, what don't you feel good about, Chris? You don't feel good about the fact that y'all know that Sydney isn't the millionaire, but y'all want to vote for Sydney? You feel good about that, but you did it to Lauren. So what difference does it make? Don't do that, Chris, because you don't care about voting for people that you know are not the millionaire. Kiss my ass, Chris. Kiss it. So then Sydney calls out Lydia and Cara, and Jamie is sitting there rolling her eyes. I don't like Jamie's ass either because Jamie never has an opinion of her own. Jamie doesn't stand for anything. All Jamie does is sit there and roll her eyes every time somebody else voices their displeasure or how they feel about somebody that she calls a fucking friend. Jamie's ass can get the hell on too. So they vote. And I'm thinking, Sam, vote for Chris. Get Chris's ass out because Chris has Kyle and Jamie so far up his ass that they're going to do whatever he says. So the votes are in, and Peter dramatically is like, it don't matter what y'all voted for, only the millionaire's vote counts. And we find out that Lydia gets voted out. And I'm like, Sam, why would you vote for Lydia? That threw me. I did not expect her to vote for her. So Lydia goes around and says all these nice things about everybody, but then she says that Jamie is shallow and pretentious. And then she said, and I'm not, what did she say she was? I don't work in escrow. I'm a professional poker player. So when she says that about Jamie, you can tell it hurt Jamie's little feelings. But I'm like, Jamie, what have you been doing to this lady? Because that's wild for her to just randomly say that. But like I said, too, all Jamie ever does is sit around and talk about everybody. That's what Jamie does. Jamie doesn't really like, I don't know. I feel like she doesn't really have an opinion about anything. She's just, I don't like her. I don't like her. She has bad energy to me. So Kyle, they're sitting around talking, and Kyle is like, look, either the millionaire voted out Lydia because she was on to them, or she was a close friend to throw people off the trail. Thank you, Captain Obvious. Duh, it's one of the two, right? So everybody is like, okay, well, who did you vote for? So Corey was like, everybody, let's just all say who we voted for. Now, I mean, nobody's going to honestly admit this. So Chris lies and says he voted for Sam. And I said, Chris lies and said he voted for Sydney, but he really voted for Sam. So Jamie is like, I voted for Lydia. I was like, girl, what? So everybody was like, what? Jamie said, I voted for Lydia. She's the only fool to admit that. And now everybody is looking at her like, bitch. And so So we get to episode 6, 911 misdemeanor in handcuffs. If you haven't already, y'all subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up the video. So Sam gets back to her room and Peter is there waiting for her. So she gets her new agenda. If she completes this agenda, her vote will count twice. If she fails, she will have one extra vote against her. So she has to get 3 people to say Justin Timberlake in conversation without singing or saying song lyrics. Sounds easy enough, but I feel like in high pressure situations like this, it's not as easy. So we get to lunch, and Sam was like, look, somebody voted for Lydia, and I just wouldn't have done that. Jamie was like, I did. But I voted for the millionaire, and that's what we were supposed to do. She was like, but I'm not the millionaire. Somebody else is. She's like, look, I look how it looks, but it would be too easy for me to be the millionaire. And she starts going in, right? And Jamie is like, look, somebody else lied and said that they didn't vote for her when they really did. Corey is loud and wrong, and Corey swears up, down, and all around that Jamie is the millionaire, and Bay is always wrong. Like, he is always Corey be loud and wrong. So Sydney is telling Chris that she thinks the millionaire. No. Fuck, I messed this up. Sydney is telling Chris that she thinks somebody is the millionaire. I messed up that. Because Jamie would be too obvious. So she points out, no, Sydney is telling, who the fuck was she talking to? Damn. Sydney was talking to somebody how she thinks the millionaire is Chris. I want to say it was Sam. I think it was Sam. And she then points out how Chris gave that whole speech about not feeling good about voting for her, remember, at dinner, but then he turned around afterwards and said that he did vote for her. And I was like, that was stupid. Why wouldn't he say a random name like Kyle or something? That was silly. So Corey is talking to Chris, and he was like, Sydney is saying your name. And Chris was like, that's bold of her since she's here because of me. I'm the reason she's still in the game. I said, Chris, you got some fucking nerve. You are not the reason Sydney is still there. You're not. So we get to the challenge, and they are going to have afternoon tea, okay? So there are going to be 2 different teams. Team 1 is Cara, Sam, Corey, and Chris. Team 2 is Kyle, Sydney, and Jamie. So they are going to be having 2 different desserts. One is going to be disgusting and one is going to be delicious. Their job is to pick a random plate, and then they have to mask how it really tastes, and the other team has to guess, is it yum or is it yuck? So for each point that they get, each one that they get correctly, they get a point, and then the first team to 4 points is the winner. So everybody's doing good, trying to make it seem like it's good, like it's not, whatever the case. Chris's dumbass was doing too much because he's a pompous little asshole. So this fool picks up the plate and licks it, and they are looking like, dude, we can see the answer. And he's like, I got overzealous. Yeah, you doing too much. You doing too much. So now they're thinking that that was part of his agenda as the millionaire. So Sam, Corey, Chris, and Cara's team won, okay? So afterwards, they're all sitting in a room talking about who they think is the millionaire. And Jamie is getting all defensive again, and she's being overly theatrical, and I'm not the millionaire. Ooh, it wasn't me. And I was with Chris. Why are you, what are you doing? You're doing too much, right? She was doing way, way too much. It looked super, super obvious. And, we know that she's not the millionaire, but, girl. Girl. So Corey is like, why are you being so defensive? And Jamie said, look, there's no logical reason for this to be put on me. She then said, y'all reasoning doesn't reason for her. So she's mad that somebody lied about voting for Lydia. In the game of deception, everybody is going to lie. So Chris uses this as an opportunity to go and apologize to Sydney for voting for her, but he really don't care. He really doesn't. So he tells Sydney, look, tell Jamie not to send the heat my way, but to send it against Sam. So now Sydney is looking like, Okay, that seems kind of shady. Why would I, you know what I mean? Like, I'm telling y'all, Chris swear, right? So Sam is able to get Cara to say Justin Timberlake by comparing Chris to him for being like a cheater. Said okay. So during yoga the next morning, Sam is able to get Jamie to say Justin Timberlake, talking about some he talked about this passage in a podcast. So we get to the trophy room. Corey is elected to get to So Corey is elected to get the clue, and his clue is that he gets to open one of the boxes of the losing team to see if they are indeed the millionaire or not. So obviously, he picks Jamie. He sees that she is not the millionaire and he's defeated, okay? So he now gets a secret agenda of his own. If he completes it, the money moves in the morning. If he fails, he will have 2 elimination votes against him. So before elimination tonight, he needs to get people to use the words 911, handcuffs, and misdemeanor. It can be all one person or it can be several. So meanwhile, outside, Sam is able to get Chris to say Justin Timberlake one for the final time by talking about karaoke. So while they were outside, they were talking about what it's like or like they're talking about one. Sam brings up wishing that there was a lie detector, and they're like, "Why? Like, but you can beat lie detectors." And Sam is like, "Yeah, I have a friend that was a cop that beat the lie detector to like pass his psychic exam to become a cop." Chris tells a story about how he had a police escort. So now both of y'all have told stories about police officers. So with this clue, okay. So when Corey gets outside, he tells them, look, I got to open the box. I opened Jamie's box. She's not the millionaire. He said, but here's my clue 911, misdemeanor, and handcuffs. So, of course, everybody starts repeating it. Boom, agenda done. Boom. So this was right after Chris tells that story and Sam tells her story. So Sydney, Kara, Corey, and Chris link the words back to Sam. So Sam comes out and said that, look, Chris told the story about the police escort. So everybody's like, damn, he did. So now it's between Sam and Chris. Now we got to figure out who the damn millionaire is. So it's time for the elimination dinner, right? So Peter gets right to the shits. He said, look, the millionaire completed their agenda. Their vote now counts as 2. Truth be told, get to it. So Sam said, look, I'm sorry, Sydney said, look, Sam, you and Chris's names are both up there. Both of y'all told stories involving police officers. So Chris was like, well, let's not forget that the millionaire lied about their profession. And Sam was like, okay, but Chris, you said that Kara's name about who you think is the millionaire. Chris gets all defensive to the point where he's about to cry. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Yes, the fuck you did, Chris. Yes, you did. You did say Kara's name. Whether you meant it facetiously or not, you said her name. So Sam points out that Chris also lied about voting for Sydney, right? So he was like, yeah, but I voted for her and we made up and other type of stuff and we're good. So Peter was like, Sydney, are you still close with Chris? Chris was like, yeah, we had a conversation. It was fine. We talked like adults. We worked it out. And that's what it is. Everybody looked at him like, so Peter was like, okay, so Sydney, I asked you, right? So Sydney, I forgot what her response was, but she does not say if they are still close. Sydney doesn't say. If she did, correct me in the comments. So Corey was like, okay, Chris, I think you're the millionaire. So Chris immediately is all but a weep. The millionaire is lying about their job. I'm not lying about my job. I work 16 hours a day. I'm an entrepreneur. I own a beverage company. I'm not lying about my job. I don't believe this. So, what was crazy is Chris and Sam were talking about lying about professions, and he was like, well, it's easy for her to lie, Sam, to lie about her profession because nobody can fact check whether or not she is really a stay-at-home mom. right? And she was like, yeah, and how are we supposed to check that you really work 16 hours a day? See, Chris thought he was the smartest man in the room, and he's not. He's not. So let's vote. So they vote and they vote Chris's ass out. And the way I stood up and said, thank you, Jesus. Did not like him, did not want him to win. Peter is like, okay, cool, get him up out of here. But look, somebody else had an agenda too. He said the money was randomly moved, and Sam was like, yes, good. Whew, thank God. And Kyle looked at her like, so when they're out of the room, Kyle and Sam get into an argument. And he was like, why were you so excited? And she was like, because now one of us can get the money. Like one of us can be the millionaire now. And I'm like, Sam, you let your slip show, sis. Why would you get that excited? So Kyle is like, I think you're the millionaire. And now Chris just went home for no reason. And bam, bam, ba, da, 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 da. You should be happy Chris is gone because there's one less person there in the way of you getting the money. Y'all kill me. But that was the last 3 episodes, episodes 4, 5, and 6. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Subscribe to the channel, thumbs up the video, and I will catch y'all Wednesday, maybe Thursday. Hopefully Wednesday, so we can talk about the remaining 2 episodes. Peace.